What's up? I'm April, your not so typical host of the Rodeo Fame Mental Game Podcast. This is the Smarties Young Pro Mentorship Edition. To learn more about Smarty and their mentorship program, visit smartytraining.com. This podcast is all about real meaningful conversations with people about living life with purpose, how to squeeze every bit of meaning out of sucky situations, because we all have them. Discussions about what real success looks like, and breaking down those ugly mental blocks. Okay, welcome to the Rodeo Fame's Mental Game Podcast. I'm here with my guest, Alan Bach, also my dad.
Hi, everybody.
Hey. So you guys might be driving right now. You guys might be sitting at home, eating dinner, whatever you're doing. We're going to give you guys a little inside the mind of Alan Bach. To me, he's one of the strongest mental people I know. His mental game is amazing. Even though he's my dad, that's really why I started the Mental Game Podcast, because all my life since I was little, being around athletes and seeing people really, really good, like they had a lot of skill, but then I seen that their mental part was not good at all. Like I really saw the difference whenever they would start to compete. Like I would see them practice, but then when they would go and get in front of a crowd, they would kind of fall apart. So today, we're actually going to talk about rodeo, one roping specifically they pay a lot of money, and that's the George Strait. We're going to talk about when you lost that and when you come back and you won. So let's start with that. Tell us about the George Strait. Set that up for us. What kind of roping is the George Strait?
Okay, well, I've had lots and lots of people ask me what was one of my favorite contests, whether it be the NFR, BFI. For me, the George Strait was always like my favorite because you could win the most money like in 2 days of any place. I mean, like a lot of money, a truck, a trailer, $100,000. There was no other up until now. The NFR is getting better and better, but back in the day, that was where you could really make a difference in your life if you could win that thing. And
yeah.
So for me, there's certain places that you seem to do good at, and then some not so good. But George Strait was always good to me. It kind of matched my mental game. You had to rope one day and just make 2 nice runs, qualify for the next day, and then it was a 3-header. Then you had to get after it. You had to be pretty fast. But even that, the first 2 steers of the next day, you had to set yourself up to be one of the top 5 teams to where you had a chance to win the truck, the trailer, and then it was like kind of top loaded, if you will. That means if you win first, you might win $150,000 total or 200. If you win second, it might only be worth 40,000. So it was one of those ropings where you tried to set yourself up to give you a chance to win first.
What was the entry fees in those to get in?
I honestly don't remember. I think it was somewhere around $200 a man. You entered 3 times.
And then how many teams did they usually have?
Well, I think at one time, and don't quote me on all this because don't remember sometimes, because the George Strait started way back in the day, and it could have started at $100 entry fees and maybe ended up at $500 entry fees, go 3 times. So I'm not really, it's kind of evolved through time, like more prizes, higher entry fees. And I think at one time they had upwards to like 700 teams in the thing.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing to have that many guys on the top level think that they could come and win first place against the best guys in the world.
What time of year was this?
It was normally around March.
It was March. Okay, so in January, usually, is January when the rodeo schedule starts over, or is that in November?
No, it's well, I mean, Yeah, it officially starts in the end of October and November, but there's only just a few rodeos.
Yeah.
Then you have the NFR, but I think for most of us, we considered like Odessa, the 1st of January, that kind of officially started it for most of us.
Yeah.
And then you went right into the winter rodeos and then the spring rodeos.
So for some people that might be watching this, that they actually don't know anything about rodeo or anything. So the George Strait is not a part of when you win money at the George Strait, that doesn't go towards winning the world, correct?
No,
Yeah.
no.
So when you're a rodeo athlete, it's different. Like you really have to be strong mentally and get out there and get it done, because it's not a 9-to-5 job, where you for sure have a guaranteed check. Like you have to, these rope-ins, this is how you are bringing in money for your family, right? Like for your wife, your house, like
Absolutely.
your kids. So this is not a hobby to you, right? When you're going to the George Strait. So people need to understand that whenever you're mentally coming into this, it's not like, oh, this is just for fun on the side. You're going in because this is going to help pay your bills. This is so that's a lot. So what are you thinking when you back into the box, or when you're preparing for this? Is it just something that you're so used to, or like that you've prepared your mind for? Or does the crowd do you not even see the crowd? How do you do that?
I really believe your identity has everything to do with it. And I don't think the mental thing has to be as complicated as some people try to make it. Like, for instance, to try to make it very simple, if I love framing houses, you go out and you start working hard at helping somebody to frame houses that's really good. The next thing you know, you're as good as that person at framing houses, and you love doing it. And then you find out, wow, I'm really good at doing this. Well, pretty soon there's no ego to it. There's no really pride thing to it, unless you really let it be that way. But you just think about it. A carpenter or electrician, they're really good at what they do. So they know I'm a great plumber. So they go, and the ones that really try to do a great job and do it with the spirit of excellence, they become that guy that everybody wants to hire. Just simple as that. And they do a really good job, because they know if they don't, they're probably not going to get hired back. It's just pretty simple like that. But it's not like they have all these mental things that they go through. Oh, I got to have a lot of confidence to frame this house today. In a sense, it's just, no, that's just who I am. I'm good at framing houses.
So when you back in the box, like, that you're a winner, right?
The actual foundation I'm talking about is your identity. Like, and I was fortunate for some reason when I was really young. It's like I prayed for my purpose. Like, what am I on this earth for to do? And my purpose, I love the rope. So I kind of put 2 and 2 together and just asked God, if this really is what I'm supposed to do, I basically dedicated my rope to the Lord and just asked him, is this really what you want me to do? And I just believe that if you'll make sure that your purpose in life lines up with God's purpose in life for you, then you can go hard after it. And then pretty soon it just becomes who you are.
Yeah.
I had Jimmy Cooper and Travis Woodard one time asked me, a little bit later on in my career too, and they probably did outrope me at that time. They're like, hey, Al Bob, why is it that we're trying so hard, to succeed, to get to the NFR, all that? What makes you different than us? And they're like, at times in the practice pen, we feel like we rope every bit as good as you or better. And I'm like, I agree, you guys really are that good. But the short version answer to this is, when I get up in the morning and I look in the mirror, I see somebody that's going to be at the NFR every year. I don't think of it as a big deal. I just think of it, that's just who I am. I'm a catcher. I'm a guy that hardly ever misses. That's just my job. Just like a carpenter or an electrician, that's what I do. And I've worked hard to be able to say that. That's who I am. That's my identity. And later on, I think both of them, it might have took them a while to sink in, but both of them realized that. Then from that point on, yeah, pretty soon they both were great ropers going to the NFR, and they both realized, oh yeah, it ain't no big deal. That's just who we are. But until you really see yourself as somebody that is good at what you do, I think Jesus was one of the greatest examples of hanging on to his identity. Was it any accident that John the Baptist baptized Jesus, and when he did, God the Father his voice came down and said, "This is my beloved Son in whom I'm well pleased." So then he was led up to the wilderness and tempted by Satan himself. And the three things that he tempted him with is, if you're the Son of God, turn these stones into bread. If you're the Son of God, throw yourself down off of this mountain and your angels are supposed to help you out. If you're the Son of God, he just kept challenging his identity. And I feel like that happens all the time with us as competitors. Our identity is always challenged. And then we have room for self-doubt instead of just doing what we're designed to do with the spirit of excellence, and just don't make that big a deal out of it. Just execute. Pretty soon you're just executing, and I'm making shots because that's just what I was designed to do. I was designed to be a good roper that didn't beat himself very much. That's what I saw myself as.
That's really good, the identity. Do you ever feel, because just me watching you a lot, I feel like it doesn't seem like you've struggled very much with your identity of having doubts, but was there times that you felt like how the devil attacked Jesus, like, well, if you are, like, did you ever have times when you did feel like your identity was being attacked? Like, maybe I'm not the best roper, or
Oh, you bet. You bet. And I know every one of my buddies who did amazingly, Cody O, Fred Whitfield, Ty Murray, Trevor Brazil, we'd all say that. Absolutely. Yeah. Most of the time we executed, with a spirit of excellence, and we had a lot of confidence when we did it. But there's always times when I've seen all them guys sitting on a bale of hay with their head between their legs, including me at the end of the NFR, like, oh my gosh, what just happened? We all maybe had that bad NFR, but that's when you have to choose to believe in yourself.
yeah,
Because we're in rodeo, we're our own trainer, we're our own coach, we're our own cheerleader. And Clay Tryon once said, I thought it was so good. He told my son Tyler, you can talk yourself into or out of anything. It's your choice. And I just think that's such a cool statement right there. You can talk yourself into being a winner, or you can talk yourself out of being a winner. Your choice.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
really think that, honestly, you don't hear this said a lot, but my will to win was really strong. And you think about other people's, Michael Jordan, one time he had the flu, was sick, fourth quarter, last game of the NBA finals. I think it was against Salt Lake City. And he was so sick. And I just could almost imagine what he's thinking. Man, I hope my teammates will step up and, take this game over, because we got to win this game. This is it.
yeah,
This is do or die. And fourth quarter, I mean, I still remember him had this wet towel over his head trying to rest a little bit. And it was almost like in the fourth quarter, I watched him just throw that towel off and just like, hey, if no one else is going to will to win this game, I will do it. He just stepped in there and he took over that game and won that game, making the buzzer beaten shot at the very end. It was amazing, that last shot that he made. But you could just tell he took it upon his shoulders. He willed himself to stop the competitors and execute and win that game. And when he was the sickest probably ever in his life, he was able to will himself into it. To me, that's a strong-minded competitor that can actually even make his body do something when it's really, really sick. I mean, I just think stuff like that motivates somebody like me. Sometimes you have to will yourself into taking smart shots, driving all night long, not giving up in August when it doesn't look like you're going to make the NFR. I mean, that strong mental game is so important. But like Joyce Myers wrote a book one time, greatest selling Christian book ever, Battlefield of the Mind. Our mind is a battlefield.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's our choice how we're going to let our perception is our reality. You could ask 10 different people about what it's like to be a winner. Well, for me, being a winner, my perception of that is I had a purpose in life, and it was to try to glorify the Lord with my rope, and win, lose, or draw. I tried to dedicate that to Him. And that gave me the greatest purpose in my life, that no matter what, I'm going to try my very best. And of course, we're not always going to win every battle, but man, it really does empower you mentally to know that you're doing this for more than yourself. There's so many selfish people out there, and of course you can accomplish a lot with a strong mind. If your purpose isn't lining up with God's purpose in your life, I just don't know how anybody can just fully 100% give everything they got to it. But for me, it was easy to fully commit everything in my practice sessions and driving and everything it took to find horses partners, because I was trying to do it not just for myself and my ego and pride, but I was trying to do it because one time somebody, when I was a really young man, said that there was a lot of people connected into my gifts and talents. And then they explained to me what that meant. Like, I was gonna, if I really worked hard, I would have a platform and people would watch me, and win, lose, or draw, it could actually help them strengthen their faith. And that's what I've tried to do, with the Smarty Young Pro and the different mentorship things that I have done over the years. Just try to encourage the young people. There's no greater life than to try to be the best that you can be according to God's plan for your life. But it's up to each one of us as an individual to do that. The question you was wanting to ask, which really was a special moment in my life, was I hardly ever dropped the ball for some really big, like 50,000 or more. Fortunately, I hardly ever missed that opportunity to win. But in this case, Matt Tyler, we worked our way all the way up to having a chance to win the George Strait. And I let a distraction mess my mental game up. Matt did an excellent job scoring the last one. All we had to do is just make another clean run. We win truck, trailer, $150,000. So Matt goes out, sticks the steer, gives me the best handle. But in my mind, I thought I heard somebody say, broke it. And it simply just broke my concentration long enough that when I come around there and he gave me the perfect shot you could ever imagine, but I missed.
Oh,
When I heard, I can still remember hearing everybody in that building just, oh, and in my mind, the same thing. It was like everybody in unison. It was like, oh my gosh, he missed.
if you would have caught, how much would you have won?
It would have been, between the truck, trailer, and the money, $150,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so it was kind of really cool, because sometimes your friends can really help you a lot. Trevor Brazil come up, and he knew how I was feeling, because great competitors, they know how the other person's feeling. He come up and he said, hey, I just want to tell you something. If you have that shot 99 more times in a row, I would bet anybody any amount of money that you'll catch every one of them. Don't forget that. So it was really cool that Trevor Brazil was trying to breathe affirmation into me. It's kind of like, man, don't let this mess you up right here, because everybody misses one.
Yeah.
But I'll bet anything that 99 more times you wouldn't. And Daniel Green come up and told me basically the same thing, but just the same on the way home. I really felt like I had drank a glass of poison. I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, my family really needed that. You being one of my family. I mean, you're right. That's all I ever did, is that I never had any money given to me. It was only what I won to, raise you 4 kids and everything. But yeah, I just felt like I drank poison, like, oh my gosh, maybe this is the end of the road for me. I'm 50 some years old, had an opportunity to really win one of the biggest ropums, and that could have been a great finish to my career, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, now the mental game starts. Now the mental fight starts. You know, you're done, whether it be, you know, just my own mind telling myself self-doubt. But so I had a long time to decide. This was a crossroad to me, for me, to choose. I'm going to come back even better next year, or I'm just going to go ahead and lay down and let this one get me. I mean, and everybody has that choice. That's where I was talking about our will to win. But my will to win, I guess, is so strong that crossroad there is like, no, I'm in my mind, I'm going to work on coming back and setting myself up again next year for that same chance. But next year, I'm not going to miss. And sure enough, the whole year goes around. The first day, I'm trying my best to make it back at least a couple of times. And sure enough, I do it. But my friend that was the announcer, he didn't realize how challenging it was, but he just kept saying, oh, we're going to get a chance to watch Alan, see if Alan dropped the ball last year to win it all. He just kept reminding me every time I'd ride in the box. Yeah, Alan missed last year to win the George Strait, to win the truck, the trailer, to win everything. So he just kept saying that. He didn't realize I just had to keep like ignoring that and telling myself, but I'm not going to do it this year. But so there's a time when you have to empower, which means encourage. You have to encourage yourself. I had to talk myself into doing what I was designed to do, and that's just heel 2 feet. So sure enough, I end up coming back in the top 4. I think 4th with Matt again, 2nd with Jake Barnes. And anyway, this time I didn't let it happen. I mean, I just stayed focused, held my concentration level was good. I held it. I didn't let any distractions come in there, which is an important tool in executing every time, is to just block out anything negative and only think about what it takes to do the task at hand, just like building a house or, you know, a framer, electrician, a plumber. It's as simple as that. I mean, when you're good at what you do, like guys like Jade Corkle, Rich Skelton, myself, I mean, we just come around there and do what we've trained ourselves to do. So it's not that big a deal to us, really, because we know we're supposed to catch every time. We've earned the right, I guess you'd say, to have that healthy self-esteem of never missing. We don't try to talk ourselves into it. We've went out and proved it to ourselves by practicing and sharpen our skills to the point to where we're fundamentally sound. We rope the correct way. We take the right shots. We don't take a scared shot, but we don't take a stupid shot. We take the correct shot every time.
Yeah.
And pretty soon we're the best healers in the world.
So after you lost the first one, did you say, oh no, I'm going to go back and win next year, and that is my goal?
Well, obviously I didn't think about it every day, but whenever the thought of the George Strait coming up, or that, me missing that steer would come up, as like, it was one of them deals where I can't wait to get back there to have a chance to redeem myself. And by the way, I won first and second the second year, and I won like 250,000. So I really feel like it was, in a sense, a great testimony to other people that you can come back from a horrible defeat, you know, and come back stronger than ever if you can will yourself into it. But also, I think for me, there's always been that extra bonus of whatever happens, if it can glorify the Lord and help people with their faith. I really wanted to do that, because what good, there's a scripture that says, if a man gain the whole world and lose his soul, what does it benefit him? And I've always been, I think, reminded of that all my life and my career, is that what is the point of having a gold buckle if all it does is build my pride and I become cocky, arrogant, self-seeking, I never want to help anyone else. What did it really do for you? And I'll tell you a funny thing that it just seemed like the other day was so powerful in my life. Is like the Lord gave me this vision of two scoreboards. Once we die and go to heaven, we're going to see these two scoreboards. One that's only about everything we did for ourselves, how much money we made, how much successes we had. On the other side is like, how many people did we impact in a positive way? And there's two scoreboards. Man, and my encouragement to young people is choose the right scoreboard so that when you put all this hard work into your life, you're not going to be sorry in the end and realize that, oh, I scored a lot of points. I'm worth $10 million, but you didn't bless one person. You never, there wasn't one person in heaven that's like, oh, because of you shared Jesus with me. Like, how sad would that be? That our purpose on life, our purpose here on earth was nothing but to make a lot of money or to win a lot of buckles. I mean, I'm trying to encourage the young people to have the right goals in life, because there's power behind people that are anointed and have favor in their gifting and their talent.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I had that. You know, I always had. It seemed like the Lord always helped me find the right horse, the right partner. And I really did try to share my faith with nearly every partner I've ever traveled with down the road. And it's really cool to look back and see that God sure enough did come into a lot of my partners' lives just because of me sharing my faith with them. And that's worth it. And I have one partner in mind that I think about, Daniel Green, that he went home and shared faith, and everyone in his family got saved. That's worth it. That's a life worth living. That's for me as a roper, that was worth all the times I missed. That's all the hard practices, all the sweaty drives, all the tiring all night drives, the frustration. It's worth it.
Yeah.
But you just got to ask yourself, what is your motive to be a champion? Is it just about you? Or is it for others as well? For you guys that are listening to this podcast, I really appreciate it. And I hope that this has benefited you in some form or fashion. But I also want you to, I've been wanting to say this for a long time, but my daughter, I'm so proud of her because she's doing exactly what I'm saying. She's trying to ask God for what purpose she had on earth. And she's trying to elevate and take certain people and honor them. She's trying to help educate sex trafficking. She's trying to make a difference in life. And I'm really proud of April. And I'm saying that to you, April, in front of all these people or whatever, but I really appreciate that you do get it.
Yeah.
And we just got to hope that as many people as we possibly can make contact with, that they will get it as well. We are blessed to be a blessing.
Well, thank you for saying that. And I feel like, well, I know because of, you know, the example that you set before me, even though I'm not competing at rodeos or anything, I feel a lot like I'm glad that your mental strength rubbed off on me, because in what I have to do, what I feel like God put on my heart or my purpose in life to raise awareness for human trafficking, and then just the things that I'm doing in the cowboy world with rodeo fame, it takes a lot of mental strength, because there's, oh my gosh, I've had so many obstacles, and just, I mean, there's so many people have said, oh, that can't happen, you can't do that, or, you know, you don't have the credentials for that. And I just, honestly, I don't even listen to them. I just know, like you said, you know what your identity is. You know that you're a winner. I just know I'm going to make a difference in the world. I know that I'm supposed to, when there's problems in the world, I just know that I have to do something about it. You know, like the cowboy world, promoting unity and wanting to connect the pros with the youth. Like, I just know that's what I was made to do, and I'm so glad that you demonstrated that for us about your mental strength. And no matter what happens, you just keep going. Like finding a venue for a trafficking type event in Las Vegas is not really ideal, but I never let it come into my mind that I wasn't going to do it. People said, no, that's not going to happen. I said, yes, it will. And I can see it happening already. I already see the people sitting in the seats. And I think that I know that I got that from you. Like when you back in the box, like I used to think, man, I wish I had that kind of confidence that you had when you get in there and you see all these people watching you, that audience. But I do have an audience. It's just not in the arena. I do have people thinking that I'm going to fail. And I do have that feeling like, oh my God, what if I plan this and it doesn't work? It doesn't matter. I have to try.
That's right. And you guys that are listening, and again, April and I's heart is that we're trying to maximize the Cowboys' influence to impact the world. Our country needs each and every one of us to step up and be the very best that we can possibly be, meaning we're blessed to be a blessing. Be the best you can be, but at the same time, try to motivate others and make a positive impact in someone else's life. Because if we start doing that, our country is going to turn around. And then that's the least that we can do for God. God is asking us to be his army, to go out and save these orphans and help these girls that have been sex trafficked. And we can all do something. If all of us will just do a little bit, there's so many of us in the Western world that we're going to shine in the United States. We're going to shine to the rest of the world. I believe God wants to use our Western industry to cowboy up and be the best that we can be to impact the world.
Yeah.
So I hope this motivates each and every one of you, to all of us together. We can make a big impact in this country.
Yes, I agree.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you guys for listening.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. To hear more from Rodeo Fame, visit us at rodeofame.com and see what other podcasts we have. Rodeo Fame is a different kind of fame. We're all about using our influence to make an impact in the world. We want to promote unity in our industry and protect the future of our Western lifestyle. The cowboys and cowgirls are really using their influence right now to help stop human trafficking. If you guys want to find out how to get involved, visit us again at rodeofame.com. Until next time.